he calls his flesh. But let me tell you what that really means, because if you ask people, you get a lot of different. Here's the best definition of flesh in the Bible: sin nature. Sin nature. And so Paul talks about his struggle between his flesh and his sin nature. I'm going to build this up now. Listen closely. Now understand what's really fascinating about this. And it wasn't until 2 nights ago, maybe 3 in the morning, I had woke up. And for some reason, I started thinking, how old was Paul when he wrote this? Now, for those of you that like information, Paul and Jesus were about the same age. At 33, when Christ died, Paul was almost the exact same age when he was persecuting the church and got saved. So you know about the Damascus Road experience, right? Just follow me. I got something. I got word. Just trust me. So Paul being the same age and getting saved on the Damascus Road just a little bit after Jesus' crucifixion, and writing Romans in AD 55, 56, do the math, from AD 33 to 56. Listen, Paul was walking with the Lord about 23 years, Pastor. And here's this 50-something-year-old man. Oh, yeah, you know the word. Now watch now. Well, watch this. Here's this 50-something-year-old man that you think he should have it perfect. Listen to this. Next to Jesus, he is the most important person in the propagation and the spreading of the gospel. After Jesus, it's Paul. Paul did it all. This Paul, we're going to read it now. I feel my help coming. It's almost done. It's almost done. It's almost done. I put this together for you, so keep that in mind. I'm going to help some people, Sherry, find freedom. I got this thing all in me. I'm not joking. It's all in me. All week, Pastor, I thought about it. And Monday, when I started working on it, I felt so good. I told God, Lord, please don't let this spirit leave me. Because you know how you can go through a week and a bunch of stuff happens. And then you come to leave a word for the people of God, and I love y'all so much that you get in and you're like, Lord, help me. I got this on my mind. And every day, I felt better and better every time. I was over the thought, and I said, God, don't leave me. Let the anointing stay on me. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to go out and get sick. If I heard someone cough, I was running the other way. And I praise God. He didn't leave me. I feel as good today. You don't know that was a important prayer line. Because how many know things can change on the dime? Get a phone call, somebody in an accident. But I said, Lord, stay with me so I can bring this word. So now listen, Paul, 50-something years old, talking about a struggle mode between his sin nature, his flesh, that leads you to sin, and the spirit. Oh, we're going to read it. You're going to see what he says word for word. And you know what's so interesting? God could have eradicated, Randolph, our sin nature. He could have took it away from us when we were saved, so we'd have no trouble in this life. But guess what? He left it in place for us to deal with. But he gave us a way to work it and get the victory. He left it in place. And so Paul shares his testimony. And there was something else I wanted to say, but I'll leave it out. So now we're going to begin to read Romans chapter 7, verses 14 through 25. That's the saints, bear with me.
Amen.
Listen to Paul's testimony about the struggle he had with his flesh. 50-something years old, walking with God 20-something years. Listen to what Paul said, and I'm going to give you my message. Paul said, this is powerful stuff right here. For we know that the law is spiritual, but Paul said, I'm carnal. Paul said this, but I'm carnal, sold unto sin. He said, for which I do, I allow not. He said, I don't really want to do these things. Paul was sinning and messing up. Y'all might not believe that. Oh, I know what I wanted to say now. Old Methodist folks and holiness folks, I can't leave this out. They used to preach a doctrine, some still do. Listen closely now, I don't offend nobody. It was called the doctrine of entire sanctification. Some still believe that in this world right here, you can become perfect. I got some news for you, some bad news. It ain't going to happen. There wasn't but one person that was perfect. As long as you're a sin nature, as long as you're in this flesh, you're going to take it all the way until you see Jesus. And they have the scripture up, one of my scriptures, Philippians 1 and 6, where Paul said, be confident of this very thing. Just let me set the stage. That he who hath begun a good work in you will perform it all the way until Jesus Christ. That good work is the work of sanctification. Now, if you could be perfect in this life, Paul wouldn't have said that he's going to do it all the way until the day you see Jesus face to face. But he said it because the only time you're going to be perfect is when this mortal body puts on immortality, and this corruptible body puts on incorruption, and you're in your glorified body, and you see Jesus face to face. Until that time, you're going to struggle with flesh.
Amen.
So the doctrine of complete sanctification that early Methodists and holiness preachers preached, that you can be perfect now, it ain't going to happen. How many here know you ever struggle with your flesh? Ain't no perfect people in here. Ain't nobody reached perfect, complete sanctification.
No.
And so now let's keep reading. All right, so I want to go back verse. So, for that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. Well, watch this, because I come back to where my thought comes from. Paul said, but what I hate, oh my God, that's what I do. It got to make you wonder. He didn't say Paul was doing some things that he hated. This is the greatest apostle in the Bible. No, he said, I'm doing some things that I hate doing. You've been walking with the Lord 20-something years, you're 50-something. You want the young people perfect. Here's Paul at 50-something saying, I'm messing up. I ain't doing everything right. He said, if then I do that which I would not. He said, if I find myself doing things that I really don't want to do, he said, I confess unto the Lord that it is good. But watch this. He said, now then, it's no more I that do it, but it's the sin nature that dwelleth in me. Now, where's all the people my age that remember Flip Wilson that used to play Geraldine and he was on the young Some people look him up later. Juanita, do you remember what he used to say? All right, so Flip Wilson was a comedian from our time, and he was dressed like a woman. He looked like Aunt Esther from Fred Sanford. And so concerning when he would do wrong, he would say, Juanita, he said, the devil made me do it. And look, Paul is saying almost the same thing. And Paul's not wrong because the sin nature is of the devil. So Paul was saying what Flip Wilson said, but he said it in his own way. He said, for to will is present with me, but how to do good, I don't know how. I find then that he said, the good that I would do, I do not, but the evil. That's Paul saying, I did evil. Paul said, I did evil. My gosh, that's hard to imagine. The man responsible for the gospel that's walking with the Lord 20-something years. Y'all hear me? I didn't give you my thought yet. I'm almost there. Just bear with me. Paul, Sherry said he did evil. Paul, 50-something years old. I'm not giving nobody an excuse to sin. I'm going to clear that up later. But Paul was next to Jesus. He's responsible for everything. But he said he was doing evil. All right? He said, when I would do good, evil is present with me. How many can relate to that? Oh my God. I'm going to give you my thought. I'm going to ask you, can you relate to that? He said, I find in the law there's a principle. There's a principle going on in my body, in my life, Paul said, that when I would do good and do things that please God and live righteous and holy, he said, evil is always present with me. He said, I delight in the law of God after the inward man. He said, but I see another law. I see a principle in my members that's warring against the law of my mind. Oh my God, this is Paul. How many are teaching? must swing from the chandeliers later, and I'm going to swing with you, but my thing, he's a preacher right now. He said,
praise God.
The law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members.
Yeah.
And then Paul says, oh, wretched, miserable, tortured soul that I am. Paul said, I'm sick and tired of missing the mark. Paul said, oh, wretched, miserable, frustrated man that I am. Who shall deliver me from the body of this death? And I'm going to leave the rest out, but I got to go back to verse 15 so you can catch my thought. In verse 15, he said, for that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. He said, but what I hate, that's what I do. I want to encourage everyone today with a message entitled, what do you do when you hate what you do, but you can't stop doing it? The title, you know that's something you'll identify with. What do you do? But what do you do?
What do you do?
When you hate what you do, but you can't stop doing it. God some And the beauty of this thing is, Paul was so transparent, but the beauty of this thing is that Paul don't tell us exactly what his problem was.
Right.
Did he have a problem with sexual sin? Maybe. Maybe not. Can you prove it wasn't? Maybe he was just envious. Maybe Paul had trouble forgiving. Maybe Paul had a bad attitude. He didn't tell us. But I know one thing. It was big because he said, I hate it. And it's evil. And it's not like God. And so you see the thought on the screen up there? Has anyone in here ever been in that posture? Has anybody in here ever been in that posture like that? Frustrated and disgusted, praying about things, asking for deliverance. I want you to look at that picture and just tell me, can you identify with that posture?
Yes, praise God. Praise God.
So what's good? Paul didn't, I told you, pray for my throat. Have you ever been as disgusted with yourself as Paul was with himself? Have you ever found yourself sinning? Paul found himself sinning in ways that were so unattractive to him. See, nobody wants to be honest.
Yes, praise God.
Have you ever found yourself sinning in ways that were so unattractive to you?
Praise God.
We got some folk in here that complete sanctification there. They're always sanctified. Have you ever found yourself disgusted with yourself?
Yes, praise God.
And praying for victory over particular sin in your life.
Bless the Lord.
But no matter how hard you prayed, you kept doing the thing that you hate doing. I need some honest people to raise their hand and give God some praise. At least be honest and say, I've been there. At least be honest and say, I've been there. It's so disgusting. But no matter how hard you pray, you keep doing what you hate doing. What do you do when you hate what you do, but you can't stop doing it? Oh, I know that some people, that goes home with. I got some answers. Y'all got to pray for my throat. I don't know why.
In the name of Jesus. Yes, Lord.
Y'all give me a little bit of might help. So anyhow, like I said, the beauty of it is, thank you, we don't know what he was doing. We don't know if he had a moral failure. We don't know if he had an addiction to something. We don't know if he carried hatred. But the Apostle Paul, the greatest person after Jesus, said, I'm messing up. He said, I find myself sinning sometimes. What do you think he meant? That was as clear as it could be. Paul, But here's the thing, Paul loved God.
Yeah.
And it bothered him that he was sinning. It bothered him that he was missing the mark. It bothered him that he wasn't bringing God all the glory in his life. So God saw his faithfulness, and God gave him an answer. And I want now you please give me Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 and 17.